Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
That's right, everyone. We're back with another episode of the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show. I'm your host, Niall.
And I'm Nolan.
And today we're going to be reviewing the latest, definitely not the greatest, but the latest of MCU movies. Thor, Love and Thunder. We're going to do a spoiler-free review because I know that's like a big deal to Marvel fans, but probably all already saw it anyway.
Yeah, probably.
But we'll do a spoiler-free review and then give you a spoiler warning and then go more in depth into it after that. So, so this movie is it's a pretty good movie. It's definitely not the best MCU movie. It's not even the best Thor movie.
It's the second best Thor movie
out of the four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I don't think it's as good as Ragnarok, but it's still pretty good.
Other than the Avengers movies, there hasn't been any other Marvel movies to get to 4, right? This is the first one?
Yes.
And it was easily the worst of the first phase of the phase. Well, no, I never saw Incredible Hulk, but like this was like I think Thor was easily the weakest of the original.
Yeah, well, between
like the first arc, like original Marvel movies,
Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
the Paramount Marvel movies.
Yeah, it definitely was, but I liked the character always. It's just the writing around it.
It was always the writing was just kind of meh. And how far we've come. I mean, with Ragnarok and then Love and Thunder, it's all like crazy, colorful, like space adventure stuff going on. But that first Thor movie is like so plain. It's like
it's a really tiny budget. Like, where's the cheapest place we can shoot? The middle of the desert in New Mexico.
Dude, you and I have been to New Mexico a lot.
Yeah.
I swear it's like they had to like specifically remove buildings because I'm not convinced there's any town that small in New Mexico.
My understanding is that town is there just to shoot movies at. It's a set town.
Yeah, no wonder it just feels too tiny. Like that street always felt weird because I'm like, there's a lot of people on the main drag in this town for there to be no houses here.
Yeah, well, obviously that first movie was shot on a shoestring budget.
Whereas now...
Right. And they embraced the cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that they would have before the success of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
But yeah, they definitely embraced the cosmic stuff in this. And so I wanted to address something that I've seen a lot of people concerned with, and that is the notion that the movie's really going to be about Jane, and Thor gets sidelined and pushed out of his own movie, and it's going to be Jane from here on forward. And there's been a lot of concern about that, and I'm going to tell you that's not the case at all.
Nope, it is definitely about Thor, the God of Thunder.
They don't...
Not the mighty Thor, which is what they refer to Jane
right, because that
as.
was the title of the comic where Jane was Thor. And... and so like some people have been concerned that they're just gonna make Thor look like an incompetent idiot, and then Jane and Valkyrie are gonna be the real heroes, and that's not the case either. Both of them acknowledge that Thor has a lot more experience and knowledge when it comes to this particular task that they have, and they defer everything to him. He's also, definitely the leader.
He's also just like objectively a better fighter.
Right. And they defer to him. He is definitely the leader, and they follow his lead. They don't.
Yeah, he's calling the shots.
Yeah, he's calling the shots. They don't argue with him. They don't make him look like an idiot or anything.
Yeah, there's no like
emasculation or anything going on.
Right, or like weird like oddly forced girl power moments like there was in Endgame.
Yeah, no, none of that's in there.
So no, I thought it was done pretty well, as far as incorporating these other characters, because like there was concern that Thor was gonna get sidelined, and then like you were saying, and then for a while people were concerned that Valkyrie was gonna like take more of a like prominent role, and people were concerned that Jane was gonna be more prominent. But it's like in they're characters that are just always associated with Thor, like like Happy and Pepper with Iron Man,
Right.
like that's this is the way it's done. And yeah, I mean it's definitely a Taika Waititi movie. There's like some
Definitely
silliness
his humor.
yeah, definitely his humor in there. But I think it fits well with like Thor's always kind of a weird, silly comic compared to like
I mean, they
Captain
used to be like
America.
very serious in a very melodramatic way, and it felt silly because of that.
Yeah,
But yeah, Chris Hemsworth has taken it in this much more like, I don't know, not stupid. Like he's not dumb, but I don't know how to say it.
whimsical.
Yeah. Like usually it's his own fault if he ever looks dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's something he says or does without thinking, and then he comes off looking maybe
but that's
a
also
little bit like an idiot,
I
but
mean,
that's the humor of it.
that's also how Thor is in Norse mythology.
That is
Thor's
true.
always making a fool of himself.
Right, that's
because-
true in Norse
because he's-
mythology. That's not true in the comics
Right.
so much, I don't think.
But he's in Norse mythology. He's the most human of all the gods, and so he makes human errors.
Right.
So,
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, there's a number of the myths that you read, and you're like, Thor's not real bright.
yeah. And speaking of that too, like leading more into the Norse mythology, he's got his goats,
Yeah.
which is in the trailer. That's not a spoiler, but he gets his goats.
Yep.
His 2 goats to haul his barge. What's a barge in this? It was like a
It was
chariot.
a chariot in or I don't know if that's a translation thing. It might have just been like a wagon.
But
or
it's
whatever.
like a short 2-wheeled wagon, right?
Right. I don't know that like Norse are known for chariots.
Right. I don't think they are
No, a lot of mountainous terrain, hilly terrain where they're
in Sweden and Norway.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so this movie right now, it's sitting at a 7.0 on IMDb, and I'd say it's about deserved. That's about where I'd put it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, the problem, like, there's nothing specifically wrong with the movie. There's nothing with the movie that I'm like, yeah, this is a problem. I didn't like this. It's just, it's good. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not as good
Yeah.
as the last Thor movie.
No, it's not as good as the last Thor movie. I thought Christian Bale
Christian Bale was great.
he was really creepy. And he gave a pretty good performance.
Yeah. So I think what this movie's missing that the last one had is the just really entertaining chemistry between Hemsworth and Hiddleston.
Yeah, Loki's not in this. Although Thor has a tattoo on his back that says like R.I.P. Loki or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So-
pretty good.
And I do like how they handled I'll get into the specifics of it in the spoiler, but how they handled like the fact that Jane is able to wield the hammer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I liked that. Because we had never seen anything before to indicate that Jane was like particularly worthy as far as humans go.
Right.
Because like Cap can lift it, Vision can lift it. I can accept those, but like, like the rest of the Avengers can't, like no one else can, and like those are, among the best people around.
Yeah. And I had a point and I forgot what it was.
About how they handled the hammer.
Oh no, I remember what it was. So this movie uses a lot of Guns N' Roses. And I'm wondering if like they went and approached them, was like they approached like Axl Rose, like we want to use a lot of your songs. I don't know. We'll name a character after you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Um, there is so much GNR in this movie. I will say, like, the song, like, none of the songs felt out of place. They all felt appropriate
Right.
for the scenes, but none of them hit as well as the Immigrant Song did in Thor Ragnarok.
No. That was the two instances they used it in Thor Ragnarok were both perfect.
Yeah.
And you'd think if they're gonna use any like rock, they'd use like Thunderstruck from AC/DC at some point.
Yeah, but
Maybe it was too on the nose.
Iron Man's the AC/DC movie.
That's true. Iron Man always used AC/DC, but yeah, it's just like a bunch of GNR, and it's like the ones that everybody knows. Like
Yeah.
you could not even be a fan, but you're aware that these songs are Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, like Sweet Child of Mine.
November Rain was in there.
But yeah, I mean, everything. I liked everything about this. I like the world building that goes on with the space focused Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a big fan of space opera, and I like the way space opera world builds, where it's just like, now we're in this place, we're not gonna explain it to you because everyone in this scene is supposed to know about this.
Right.
Or the name of the place is pretty self-explanatory, or whatever.
Maybe just throw it up on the screen, like, here's the name of the planet.
Yeah, and that's the way Guardians was. Is like they just, I think Nowhere was the only place that like they explained anything about. Which, I mean, it's a giant skull. You can't just like,
you can't just let that go.
Yeah. But yes,
I mean, the stuff with the Guardians was pretty good too. Those are all some great scenes.
Yeah, and then all the fight scenes with Christian Bale were really well done, like really creepy and.
Yeah. No, he was a good character.
Yeah.
He gave a good performance. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Ragnarok that's a little bit better than this movie.
Here's the thing.
Maybe the writing's a little tighter.
I would say it's more than a little bit better.
All right.
Like, to me, Ragnarok is an exceptional movie as far as superhero movies go. This movie is just good, in my opinion. Like, I would give Ragnarok like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. This, like I said, 7 to me feels appropriate.
All right. Well, still. Anyway, I don't know if we have much more to say without spoiling it. I recommend the movie. And again, it's very much a Thor movie. He doesn't get sidelined or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, that was so much concern from people I'd seen online leading up to this.
So, and apparently they wanted to make it darker, you were telling me.
Yeah, I was reading...
there's some parts that are pretty dark.
Yeah, I was reading... Christian Bale said that a lot of scenes had been cut that were really dark and really would have pushed that PG-13 boundary.
Yeah. Man, they say shit a lot in this movie.
They do say shit a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, nothing else. Ready to move on to the spoiler section?
Yeah. So, alright, the reason why Jane has Thor's powers now.
Right, so when Thor and Jane were dating, Thor was so worried about losing her, he talked to his hammer and like treat it like it's a person, And he told the hammer that like he loved the hammer and he loved Jane so much that he asked that the hammer would always be there to protect Jane, or the hammer would always protect Jane or whatever.
Right.
And that was like such a true love or whatever that it like basically augmented the magic of the hammer.
Yeah. So then they broke up because their lives just kind of took them in separate directions. They were so busy, Thor being a hero and Jane being this world-renowned physicist or whatever, and they just kind of drifted apart to the point where they just kind of broke up.
Yep.
So Jane now is dying of cancer of a non-specific type.
Stage 4. That's all
Stage
we know.
4. Don't know where the cancer is in her body. If it's like this full body cancer like Deadpool, who knows?
Probably not that.
No. But anyway, medical science can only do so much, and so she decides she's going to see what can be done with space Viking magic.
Yeah.
And so she goes to New Asgard, where they have all the pieces of Mjolnir on display.
Presumably they like dug that amphitheater out around it because no one can move the pieces.
Right. Well, is New Asgard where that cliff is?
It must be, right? They couldn't have moved the pieces.
They could like dig a chunk of ground and pick up the ground.
Does that work?
Yeah, well, an elevator can move Mjolnir, right?
Did we ever determine that?
I don't know.
Like they mentioned that when in was that in the end of Age of Ultron?
Maybe.
I think because it was in Age of Ultron where they're all trying to lift the hammer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was at the end of Age of Ultron.
Like, could someone have moved that coffee table with Mjolnir sitting on it?
Yeah, see, I don't know because like they like weigh things down with the hammer. It's like it's selectively
Right.
immovable.
Well, yeah, it's like Ant-Man, selectively massive or not.
Yeah.
I mean, in Norse mythology, the hammer was just so heavy only Thor could lift it.
Because he was the only one strong enough.
Because the haft was only long enough for one hand, everyone else would need two hands to lift it.
Right.
But that's not the way it works in Marvel.
Right.
Anyway, so Mjolnir reforms, and as long as Jane's in possession of Mjolnir, she has Thor's powers, and it holds the cancer at bay. But if she ever lets go of Mjolnir, puts it down, she reverts back to her normal human form.
Yep.
But the power of Mjolnir is keeping her body from fighting the cancer, so she's even more sick every time she lets go of Mjolnir, and Mjolnir will eventually kill her.
Yep.
Which it does at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as soon as they said that, I'm like, well, okay, that's how she's gonna die.
right. So Jane's gone. Jane's dead.
Yep. In fact, she's so dead she went to Asgard or to
Valhalla. Yeah, she went to Valhalla.
Yeah.
Because she died fighting the
Thor.
bad guy.
Fighting Thor the God Butcher.
Yeah.
Christian Bale.
It's specifically like there's a scene earlier in the movie where Thor comes along Sif after a battle, and she's like, "Now I can die and go to Valhalla." Ooh, hate to break it to you, but you have to die in battle. The battle's over, so if you die now, you're not going to Valhalla.
Yeah, he's like, you survived.
You survived.
Yeah, so but this movie oddly didn't like set up, and I guess it kind of set up the next Guardians movie.
I'm thinking it's setting up the next Guardians movie in some way because they kind of wrecked Zeus's party at one point, and so Zeus vows revenge, and he's gonna send Hercules after Thor. Well, within the Guardians of the Galaxy comic books, there's an arc where all of the Greek pantheon are trying to destroy humanity for reasons I don't remember.
In the comics of the Greek pantheon, basically just like an alien species, like the Asgardians.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Hercules, though, eventually joins the Guardians of the Galaxy to help stop them.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's where they're going with this.
So what I want to know is, so this movie starts off with Gore acquiring that sword.
Yeah.
The dark something.
Yeah, I don't remember the sword.
Like my mind wanted to say dark saber, and I'm like, no, that's a Star Wars thing.
Yeah, I don't remember what the sword's called.
But
it's capable of killing gods.
Right. Another part of my mind wants to call it like Black Death, but that's from a God of War or Man of War song.
Man of War song.
Yeah. But that you were telling me that's the sword.
Tempered in the tears of the unavenged.
That's the sword used by what's his name from the Eternals?
I think it is.
Right?
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think it is. He's got a magic sword called like Black Death or something too. So
Yeah. So if that's
Kit Harington's
the case,
character in the movie.
Because if that's the case, I want to know, how that sword gets, like, because he has the sword at the end of Eternals, right?
Right. That's why it might not be the same sword, but I thought that's what it was called. I'm not really familiar with the character though.
Yeah. Necro sword.
Yeah.
The question is the Necro sword, Necro S word, let's see. Does it possession of will of its own grants the chosen wielder dark powers, getting access to the shadow realm and ability to summon control black berserkers. Gore was chosen by the Necro sword following the previous wielder's death at the hand of Rapu, an arrogant. In the alternate version of Earth 19999, Hela was killed by the Collector, who claimed her Necro sword and added it to its arsenal. Oh, that was in What If. That was in one of the What If episodes.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, the Collector used it to kill Hela.
Oh. Anyway, it might not be the same sword, but I thought it was.
Yeah.
I guess could be lots of magic evil swords or
So what? Here's the thing. So one thing that's like particularly upsetting to me, particularly egregious about Eternals, is that the they like set up this whole thing like, and then we just this was the Ebony Blade. So they are different swords.
Okay.
Yeah. So so they set up that the end of that movie, they're like, all right, so we're setting him up as the Black Knight, right?
Yeah.
And then we're setting up where who's it shows up? He's from the Guardians comics, shows up there at the end, like the son of
I don't remember the character's name.
He's the son of who is he the son of? One of the bad guys. Who was it? It wasn't Thanos, was it?
Was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
That movie, we only saw it once.
I don't care to see it again.
No, but like the ending, I'm like, this sounds cool. I sat through wasn't that movie like 3 hours long?
Yeah, I remember our review said they could easily cut like half an hour or 40 minutes out of that movie, and then it was a lot better.
We sat through this long ass movie that was like, frankly, kind of boring. And it's like, if they're not gonna if it's gonna take forever for the payoff of the end, I'm gonna be pissed, because like that seemed like that was cool. I was excited for what that was setting up. Like that seemed interesting.
Yeah.
So
I feel like going forward,
it feels like there's a less clear direction that the movies are heading in.
I'm wondering if they're gonna have all these different like seemingly random things, and it's gonna, converge into something. But I feel like the next phase is just all cosmic Marvel stuff. Like, let's leave Earth out of it as much as we can, and then we're going to space.
Earth is gonna be relegated to the TV shows for now.
Yeah.
Because we got the Black Knight thing set up, that other post-credit scene from Eternals set up. We have this setup with Hercules. The Guardians have gone off to handle these like distress signals that are popping up. That's like the catalyst for the main events in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like that's what sends Thor on that path in the movie. So it's like we have all these things that are seemingly completely unconnected being set up right now.
Yeah.
And whereas, like, all through the first, like, 3 phases or whatever of Marvel, like, basically from the Disney acquisition onward, we were heading in a direction that was the Infinity War.
Right.
You know, they were dropping hints left and right. They kept finding Infinity Stones. Actually, no, they did. They were setting it up before that because
Captain America.
Captain America, yeah, had
Tesseract.
one of, I don't remember which Infinity
I
Stone
don't
it
know.
is.
The blue cube.
Yeah, and then Thor 2 had the red one. You know,
So
and so like it, but basically from nearly the beginning of the Marvel movies, they were heading to the Infinity War in a confrontation with Thanos. And in this, I'm just like, what the heck is going on here? Because if you're not going to introduce the Fantastic Four, you can't do Secret Wars.
right. Well, the rumor is they are working on that.
How do you do Secret Wars without Doom, though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Fantastic Four, they're working on something.
Oh,
I
are
thought. That's what I thought.
But not with John Krasinski.
No, with John Krasinski.
Oh, I heard a rumor that he's. Or I heard
Or
something.
he's just going to be that cameo?
Yeah, that's what I had heard.
Oh, maybe. So, what was Oh, never mind. I remember. I was gonna ask, like, what was the other mid-credit scene or whatever? But I remember what it is. It was Jane showing up in Valhalla.
Yeah, it was a nothing burger. Like it was just.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, that I knew that was gonna happen. I mean,
Yeah, the fact that she like disappeared into gold dust. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, she's going to Valhalla. So,
I mean, does she like to fight enough that Valhalla would hold her interest?
well, there's also the feasting and the orgies, right?
That's true.
You remember that Zeus and his
Zeus
orgy?
part's like, keep it up, and you're not invited to the orgy.
I was like, this is a Marvel movie.
Yeah, but it's Zeus. That's a character for Zeus.
Yeah, it's pretty on brand. I get that, but anyway, you got anything else?
Nah.
Hey, I heard a rumor Bradley Cooper doesn't want to be Rocket anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I saw something about that a few weeks ago.
Why?
I don't know. I didn't read it. I was like, I don't want to read that. I don't want that to be true, so I'm just gonna ignore it until it happens. Anyway, what's our next movie?
Just don't take that in mind with like a cancer diagnosis.
Like, what's this lump? I'm gonna ignore that. I shouldn't joke about that.
No, probably not. Anyway, next
Like,
movie.
our grandmother died of cancer. We're allowed to joke about it. Let's see. Bullet Train, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So nothing. Well, are we gonna see Nope? Looks interesting.
Yeah, the last 2 trailers made me interested. The first trailer I didn't care,
Yeah.
but the last 2 made me more interested, and the most recent one actually made Mom interested, which surprised me.
Yeah. She doesn't normally go for those like thriller type movies. Those like suspenseful thriller movies.
Yeah, but this last trailer had a lot of weird, quirky stuff in it.
Yeah. Which she does go for. So yeah, otherwise Bullet Train is our next one. That's the beginning of August. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot after that. Still don't really know much of what's going on with Samaritan. It's like we like the cast, but we don't really know much about it. No trailer yet. Oh, when's See How They Run coming out?
In the fall sometime, I think, or
Okay,
September. I think it's in September.
Clerks 3 is also in September. I know you're real excited for Lyle Crocodile, right?
Yeah.
So was someone just like saw the success of Paddington, the Paddington franchise? I was like, I need another quirky animal.
Probably that's the only reason why Percy Jackson got made after Harry Potter.
True. Except that they just didn't take the problem with Percy Jackson, I think, is they didn't take it as seriously. They didn't treat it as seriously as the Harry Potter series.
Yeah, I've never read any of the books, but I've seen like fans online talk about that, how it was just criminal what they did, I guess.
I never read the books.
I don't know. I never read them, so.
I never cared about Greek mythology in school. Like, it seemed like we covered it every year, like in elementary and middle school. And like we had a section on Greek mythology, and I just never gave a shit. And so I was like, I'm not gonna like for fun read a book based in Greek mythology. You know. So yeah, according to IMDb, September 9th, which is not listed here on their coming soon page. Weird. But Clerks 3 is, and that also just got announced. The release date for that just got announced. So, which, I mean, we'll probably end up reviewing that just because like there's really not much else in the fall. But it's gonna be a moot point because it's only showing 2 days in theater.
Yeah. So, but is it going straight to streaming or something?
Probably. I don't know who's publishing it. Probably not his traditional publisher.
Not Miramax?
Yeah, I can't imagine. You got Ben Affleck and Rosario Dawson back for it, though. I guess, like, no matter how big his friends might get, like, he's got enough charisma to convince someone like Ben Affleck to come be in his stupid movie.
Well, Ben Affleck's been in a bunch of his movies.
I know. Ben Affleck's been in his movie since he wasn't Ben Affleck.
Yeah, like Mallrats was like the first. It was like, yeah, Mallrats was been the first movie.
Yeah.
And then he was in Chasing Amy
and Dogma. But yeah, so we got that coming up. There's a MK Ultra movie coming out in October, which, I mean, we'll see when the trailers come out, but we're automatically interested because that's just really interesting.
Yeah.
Go
look it up.
Yeah. Black Adam, which I think it actually looks pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it does. It looks pretty good.
Amsterdam, that was one we saw recently. Or we saw it when we
saw the trailer when we went to see
saw
Thor.
Thor, right? It was the first we had seen of it.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
That is a stacked cast. Like, I don't, it's like, if you were to just tell me the cast, I'd be down. Like, I don't even need to hear the synopsis. So, including Timothy Olyphant, Nolan's favorite actor.
Why do you say that?
I don't know.
Every time Timothy Olyphant comes up, I'm like, I hardly know the guy from anything.
That's the joke, is like, you've hardly seen him in anything, because we don't watch, like, it's like, he's like on some TV crime drama, right? He's in Fargo.
Like, mom and dad watch a bunch of stuff with him.
Yeah. Anyway, and we got Shazam coming up too. Creed 3, which I haven't seen a trailer for yet, but I saw a teaser poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Shazam. Do you care about Puss in Boots?
Not really. I've only seen the first two Shrek movies.
So, January right now is slated for the Kraven the Hunter movie.
Seems soon.
Yeah. Is that a Sony?
That's a Sony movie.
That's a Sony movie?
Yeah. But handled correctly, it could be a pretty good movie.
It's got Russell Crowe in it.
That's how you know it's a Sony movie.
Right, because he was Zeus.
Yeah. So this one's going to also end with him joining the Vulture and Morbius, right?
Yeah, it has to. They got to create their
Sinister Six.
Sinister Six.
And then we're going to get another like crossover Spider-Man movie or Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or something.
I've heard rumors that it's going to culminate in another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie. because there's rumors about Andrew Garfield coming back to play Spider-Man, and that's the way that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
So,
plus he's got to prove that he's a cool Spider-Man and not just have like a guy in a rhino suit. And...
oh, Paul Giamatti, classic Paul Giamatti role.
Classic, one of his most well known.
But anyways, that's what we got coming up. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, come back and check that out. Check out our last or previous reviews as well. What was our last review, Nolan?
Elvis.
You're ready for it.
Mm.
You're getting better about that.
Yeah.
Do you look it up before
I'm
we
getting
sit down?
better at remembering to look it up.
Oh, okay. Would you have remembered if you didn't look it up?
I don't know. Probably not.
We see arguably too many movies. This all blurs together after a while. So, go check out our other reviews, though. We got a bunch of them up. Check out, what was one recently that for some reason was like being real popular? I say real popular, had like 80 views on it or something.
Lightyear? Because we're like one of the few people that actually like reviewed it instead of just tearing it apart?
No, Bob's Burgers movie.
Oh. Yeah, because no one was reviewing that.
Yeah, it was the Bob's Burgers movie review. Has like 132 views on it. Who knew? So
I figured we're like no one else was reviewing it, so that's why.
Yeah. Well, we do have 40 views on Lightyear, which is high for us.
Well, like I said, I think people were looking at it because they were looking for actual reviews and not just, hey, let's tear this movie apart.
My God, Nolan. We have a nice number of subscribers.
No
Nice.
one else subscribed from now on.
Nice.
We're good.
Nah, because you can get to, you can get up to like 6969.
Yeah, that's a ways off though.
Yeah. So, cool. I had no idea. In my mind, we were still at like 13 subscribers, like a month ago. I don't know. I just haven't been paying attention to it. So, yeah. Anyway,
they like us. They really
well,
like
some
us.
people like us enough to subscribe, I guess.
So
anyway, let's check out our reviews. Come back for upcoming stuff. I was it was all doom and gloom the last couple weeks because it seemed like nothing was releasing in the fall. But we've got a couple sprinkled in there now that
it's a lot more like indie stuff.
Yeah, I think some people were like looked at the lack of releases and went, "No, now's our chance."
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get a Halloween Miracle and like have the fall saved.
Mm-hmm. The Great Pumpkin will bring us
more movies to watch.
Yeah.
So until that time shall come. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Toodles.